Okay, so for forward practice today, we're just gonna get all over the place, move all the things, nice and yummy. I'm holding a tennis ball. If you don't have a tennis ball, you're gonna use your fist. And we'll do a little bit of like fascia release stuff. If you do have a tennis ball, I never know where mine is, so maybe you're just gonna say, I'm gonna use the fist. It's not a really big deal to not have a tennis ball because I actually grabbed it for Dharma and not for specifically movement. So I was like, well, we should do something with the tennis ball. Anyways, there is a conversation that we have a lot in yoga, especially if you've ever been like to back when we used to have retreats or any sort of like deep philosophical training. My teacher would always use a pen, and she'd hold up a pen and say, what is this? And we'd be like, well, it's a pen. And she's like, well, I mean, yeah, it is to you and me, because we have the background and experience that tells us that I use this thing to write with, but like my dog would chew on it. Well, maybe not mine, other dogs might chew on it. Birds are gonna stick it in their nest, like what have you. So you have like different realities create different perspectives. But here's the thing. So I have my tennis ball, right? This tennis ball to me means tension relief, pain relief. It is a therapeutic device. I keep this to get rid of all of the knots and tightness that happen when my body decides to take my emotions and crinkle it up. I look at this and I see that. I'm like, oh, I should go roll something out. A tennis player sees this tennis ball and says, oh, I should go to the court soon, or oh, I had such a good time at the court this morning. And you give this dog, even thinking like, okay, give the dog to a ball. We give the dog the ball to my dog and she's just gonna stare at it. But, like, I don't know, Carlos might like balls. I don't know, like we've got, dogs who like to play with it and like chew it all up and, completely ruin my therapeutic tool. But, so we have these different perspectives. The thing is, I don't get to just take this ball and try to sell it to you for $10 million just because I said so. I don't get to take this ball and say, you could just, build a house with this, rub it or wave it over your car and you'll suddenly have a full gas tank even though you didn't before. Like, I can't create a new reality. You can't just pull something out of thin air or pretend that it's something it's not. I can't hold this out and say, this is an ice cube, it will cool your drink. I can have a different perspective about the same thing, but I still have to work with the reality of it. So when we're in, if we want to go back to just the physical element of this, and there's so many ways you could take it, and I'll try to shut up soon. But specifically thinking so I've got this tight hamstring that I've been working with. And I don't want to go at it every day saying, oh, my hamstring's really tight, and let that be my perspective and my reality and let the story end there. I want to go in saying, maybe my hamstring's going to be more open today. I'm going to find a little bit more space there, going to find a little bit more softness. And I'm definitely not going to go into working with this hamstring saying it's perfectly light and easy today and I'm not going to have any problems. I'm just going to pop right down into the splits, because that's the kind of avoidance of reality that's going to cause me to pull it and go back to square one. So it's an interesting development to try to be very well tuned into that fine line between I'm creating a perspective to better my reality while also acknowledging the reality, while also playing within the realm of what is and not just in the realm of la 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 what might be. That's my thing. If you have a tennis ball, great. If you don't, have a fist. I know I saw some folks pop in, so I'm glad you're here. We're going to start off with face brushing. Take your index finger and your thumb together, come to the center of your forehead and brush outwards towards your temples. Going from the center of your, from the nose down out to the temples along your cheekbones. My goodness. Temples down to your chin. And then from the sides of your nose down to your chin. Massaging the place behind your ears where your skull and your spine come together, and there's that bony spot that's a good place to lift up from. And keeping the lift as you drop your hands down into your lap. The yamas and niyamas, we have satya, which is truth. And as a compulsively honest person, I didn't think I had much work to do in being truthful. As my teacher said, well, many of us who might think that we are very honest all of the time might not be very honest with ourselves about how much activity we can fit into a 24-hour day. May not be honest about our need for rest. And that's when we're not being connected with reality. I might have a good attitude and good perspective, but I'm still working with 24 hours and a finite amount of energy to attack the day. Just kind of bringing all that together. Setting an intention to just be honest with yourself about where you're at today, and also allowing yourself a perspective to see growth and change and joy and santosha, contentment with your practice today. Take another deep breath in through your nose. A big exhale through your mouth. Again, like that. For 3 ohms. We're going to start off in a very brief child's pose, an exploring, observing child's pose. I just have I feel like I'll go several weeks without doing any child's pose in class, and then I'll have a class where we do child's pose 5 times, and this is going to be the latter one. Go ahead, wiggle yourself out, walk those fingertips forward. Now check out how the body's feeling today. Notice the sensations that come up. And just take 2 more breaths. And start to walk your hands back in. Sit down, swing the legs out in front. And grab your tennis ball. If you don't have a tennis ball, you're going to take and make a fist. And you're going to kind of lay back right where, on your cheek. If you were to put your hand at the top of your cheek, right in the center, where your palm is, in the center of your palm, that's about where you're going to put the ball. So, hand on booty, ball right in the middle of where that hand goes. Then you're going to lean back on it. And it kind of hits right into your upper butt muscle, your gluteus medius there up at the top. Cool. Just let those hips roll back and just hanging out. If you feel inspired to do any more tennis ball rolling after we're done, by all means. I'm just gonna do this one though, together. One more exhale. And switch sides. So you're just gonna take it over to the other cheek, so it's right there in the middle of your cheek. It's just right where the ball goes in the palm of the hand. You gotta line it up there. It's like the top 10% of the squishy stuff. You kind of feel like it hits like a ridge, you know, like there is like that muscle that goes up there. And it's also kind of it's kind of a pelvic crest thing in there. You can feel the squishy ridge, the muscle. This could be very, very intense. It was intense for me yesterday, and it's still intense. One more exhale. And let it go. Go ahead and put your tennis ball or you've been using away, and then we're gonna come back to child's pose. So go ahead and slide your hips back, walk the hands forward. I don't know about you, but my hips are folding a little bit easier now. I've got a little bit less tension holding in and resisting in the upper butt and the gluteus medius. Just take 2 more breaths. Walk your hands over towards the right edge of your mat. Place the left palm on top of the right palm. Press down in it. Relax your head, relax your inner shoulders, and feel your left hip pull backwards. Take 2 deep breaths. And walk your hands over towards the left edge of your mat. The right hand goes on top. Rest your head, rest your inner shoulders. Press down into the right hand as you draw the right hip back ever so gently. One more deep breath. And then coming back to the center, lifting yourself up onto your hands and knees. Move the knees in a little bit closer, coming to table pose, fingertips if your wrist could use that. And then moving through a few cat and cow. Inhale, look up, lift the tail. Exhale, round your spine. And just do that 2 more times with your breath. Back towards neutral. We're going to take a little adjustment before threading the needle. Take your right hand and bring it about a handprint further forward. I've just been feeling like this makes a bit of a difference in helping to open up the upper back. Slide your left arm down and underneath. So you're going to rest on the outside of your shoulder. Come up onto the fingertips if you can. I just feel like it's a little bit more comfortable in this upper shoulder, having that hand a little bit further forward. If you think that it's weird, if you don't like it, scooch the hand back. Yeah, I feel like I'm really much more open at the back of the chest this way. Allow your hips to relax on your thigh bones. One more exhale. You're going to unwind your left hand, bring everything back in underneath the shoulders. And then the left hand comes forward, right arm slides underneath, come up onto your fingertips. Notice anywhere where you have tension, give the tension permission to relax. One more breath. Then relax your left hand down, unwind the right arm. And then you're gonna walk your hands forward, finding puppy dog pose, letting your heart melt down. You can come onto forearms if that's a little bit more comfortable in your shoulders. Maybe you're even here, letting your heart melt down, but do really let that heart melt downwards. You've got a little bit more back bending going on. Arms extended more if that feels good to you. Head down on the floor if it'll reach. One more breath out. Locking your hands back in. We're gonna come down to laying all the way down on our backs. You'll swing the legs out again and then slide all the way down onto the floor. Stretch your legs out, stretch your arms out, get nice and long. Oh, excuse me. One more big breath in. And exhale, soften. And then take your feet in here. Walk your feet out a little bit wider than your hips. You can hold onto your elbows if that feels good to you. We'll flex the feet and take both knees on their own over towards the right. Feel that left knee, the knee that's hovering up in space. Feel that thigh bone reaching out of your hip, and then try to relax your inner shoulders. Two more breaths. Then taking it back up. Bring the knees over towards the left, the right knee, the one that's up in the air. Make sure your toes are still flexed. You're gonna feel that thigh bone reaching away from you as you soften your inner shoulders. One more exhale. Taking yourself back to the center. Wiggle your feet in a little bit closer. Drop your arms down by your sides. You can catch the thighs with your hands or just do the one leg if that feels a little bit better. Just a short visit. If you're on just the one leg, go ahead and switch over towards the other one now. You could be here with both. One more exhale. And then bring the legs back in. Stretch the legs out, reach your arms up over your head. And you can roll over to your side and push yourself up to a seat. You could bend your legs a little bit. That might give you a little bit more oomph. Or maybe with straight legs, you can take a big inhale and exhale, draw that belly back, sit on up. And I'll take your hands back behind you. Bend into your knees, place the feet down. You can stay here with your hips on the ground and just draw the elbows back and push the heart up. You can also do that on fingertips or pressing down into your hands, and your feet lift up into altar pose. Let your heart rise upwards. One more breath in. Exhale, lower it down. And we're gonna lay all the way back down again. Go ahead and slide it down. Reach your arms up and overhead. Nice big stretch, lengthening out. And exhale, let it go. And you're gonna inhale, reach those arms back. We're gonna come up again last time. Exhale, arrive in a seat. And then swing your legs back behind you. We're gonna come back onto our knees for a moment. I'm gonna face you. You don't have to change your space unless you really wanted to. I'm gonna come out like so. So you're gonna take your right leg and kick it out to your right side. Leave the pinky toe edge of the foot on the floor. And then bend your elbows, let your tailbone float up. And then Come back towards that neutral space. You're gonna walk yourself over towards the left side, leave the left hand down, maybe you're on fingertips, and then take the right arm up. See for a moment if you can really move these hips further forward. So you're gonna feel more open space, and then extend your arm up and over your nose. Maybe you can still reach the pinky toe edge of your foot downwards towards the floor. Exhale. Then you're gonna come up, hand on your hip, draw your belly and lift yourself up. When you get up, probably your hips drew back in order to give the belly flexion to get you up. See if you can move the hips forward again now. You're gonna turn the legs so the toes face up. It's gonna rotate the whole leg so the knee faces up, and then you're gonna feel that knee muscle, that quad right up above the knee space start to grab upwards. And then reach your left arm up into the air. Notice if your tailbone has a tendency to roll backwards, just working with that reality and trying to think of a little bit more lift right up here. One more breath out. And then you're gonna come back down with the left hand. This time you're gonna reach the right leg up, bend into your knee, reach it back, reach your hand back. You can stay here just feeling this like figure skater sort of vibe, or hold on to your foot if that's available to you. Hips are moving forward, shoulders moving back. On your exhale, soften these things, slowly release it, and walk yourself back into the center, into table pose. You're gonna take from here your left leg out to the left side, sliding it right out there from your hip, toes facing forward. Maybe the whole sole of the foot is kind of sort of on the ground, or you're thinking about it. And then bend your elbows, let your tailbone start to roll skyward. One more exhale. And relaxing that, we're gonna take the body and walk it over towards the right again. So you've got your whole body in this nice long line. Reach your arm up, feel your hips moving forward. Maybe you can get the pinky toe edge of that foot down. Then reach the arm up and over your nose. So it's just slightly in front. So you have that shoulder blade release. One more exhale. And then your hands at your hips, go ahead and lift yourself up. You're going to turn the leg down so that the toe and the knee face up. The hip bone drops down a little bit. The thigh bone relaxes inside the hip socket. Engage this muscle and reach upwards. And longer on that right side. Big breath in. Exhale, bringing that hand back down. You're going to take the leg and the arm up, bend into the knee, pull the toes back, pull the fingertips back. Maybe you're using the toes to pull the fingertips back. Everything opens up here. Finding your breath again. Breathe out. And then release slowly with that leg. You're going to come down onto your belly. Just go ahead and slide yourself on down there. Take your time. Make a pillow for your head with your hands, finding that laying down place, that prone posture where it can be very soothing and grounding, being a good one to pull out when you're feeling frazzled or unable to sleep or just plain hot. Taking your hands, you're going to bring them a little bit wider than your mat space. Come up onto fingertips. Give yourself a little wiggle of your arm bones around in your shoulder sockets. And then we're going to take 3 real slow cobra poses, wide like this. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, lower down. Reach those toes back. Inhale, heart goes forward. Exhale, lower down. One more time. Inhale. Exhale, lower. And then rest a cheek. Bring your hands in a little bit closer.
Hands moving backwards towards your low ribs, so not being quite up under your shoulders, being back just a little bit more. And you're gonna lift up into cobra pose, again, keeping the hands in a little bit closer. Inhale, reach the heart forward. Exhale, lower. 2 more, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, and then rest the other side of your head. You can unwind your arms if that feels good to you, like you need to drop the hands down by your sides. And you can keep your hands reaching back, coming up into locust pose with the arms just reaching back behind you, or taking your hands back towards cobra, so you'll do a leg lift with cobra. And reach those legs back. Inhale, take the heart up. Exhale, lower. 2 more. Inhale, reach it out long. Exhale, lower. Last time, inhale. Exhale. Push yourself all the way up this time. Hips coming above knees, and then come out towards puppy dog. We're going to go only so far as you can keep your hands on the ground, feeling your hands press into the ground. And so if you end up like here and you can't quite press, maybe come up a little bit and press the hands forward, feel the hips reach back. 1 more exhale. And then walking your hands in, shake those fingertips out, make sure the blood's pumping in them. We'll go into downward facing dog. From downward dog, we're gonna come into a fold at the front of the mat. So you come up there whenever you need. If you can stay in down dog for 3 deep breaths, strong upper body, relaxed head. 2 more breaths now, just, hey. Bringing your feet to your hands and your hands to your feet, coming into a fold. You're gonna wiggle your feet a little bit closer together, and then bend into your knees, sit your hips back, and reach your arms up into chair pose. On your exhale, see if you can sink those hips back just a little bit more. And then straighten your legs, feel the fronts of your hips lift, reaching you all the way up. And hands come down at your heart. Separate your feet a little bit more now, so you've got maybe almost mat width or a little bit wider than your hips. Take your hands behind your back. You can hold hands at your hips if you prefer, or interlace your fingers, let your elbows be bent, and then come forward into a fold. You could stop like up here. You could straighten your arms maybe. Bending the knees so that your back isn't having to struggle. 1 more exhale. And then hands come to your hips. You're gonna lift the heart up, come halfway up. Exhale, soften. And then inhale, stand all the way up again. Bring your feet in a little bit closer again. Make sure you've got some space back behind you. We're gonna do a few tap backs from chair into a lunge. So we'll do chair with hands at heart this time. Unless you're feeling real frisky, it is possible to do the lunge taps from here, but I feel like everything's a little bit more together here. Take an inhale. Left toes are gonna tap back into a lunge. Inhale, step it forward, stay in the chair. Exhale, tap it back. Inhale, take it forward. Exhale, tap it back. 2 more if you're into it. Trying to keep your collarbones open. Last time, you'll stay back in that lunge. You might adjust your lunge a little bit. You might put the back heel down if that's what your foot needs. And then you're gonna reach your arms up. Lift those inner thighs, feel your heart reach those arms up. And then take your hands down, straighten the legs, turn the back heel down if it wasn't already. So we've got both feet down, a little bit of space right to left between the legs. With your hands at your hips, reach your heart forward first. Lengthening your spine, leading with the heart. Exhale. Draw your belly in, lift yourself up. I'm gonna come in a little bit differently. I wanna allow the body to soften forward. So what you might do is take your hands downwards towards your shin or a foot or the floor. Just slightly different approach. One more exhale. And starting to bring yourself back up. And bend into the front knee. We're going to step forward into a chair again. So find those feet together. Relax your hips back and straighten. And wiggle. Ooh. We're through the other side. So finding your space, feet are close towards each other. Sit your hips back. Take an inhale. Exhale. Tap the foot back. Stay low. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale. Tap it back. Inhale. Exhale. Two more. Trying to keep your chest soft, your breath steady. And then last time, leave it back there. You might wiggle it out a little bit longer, and then reach your arms up. Lift the heart up to the hands, feel the spine lengthen, feeling the stretch in the front of your back thigh. Relax your hands down. We're going to pivot the back foot down. So you've got a little bit of space right to left between your feet as well. Two straight legs. Start with a long spine and an open chest coming forward. Front hip rolls back gently. Exhale. And then coming on in. This time softening forward. It's a little different intention. Try not to, bear any weight on your leg, but you might put your hands down to help with balance. The weight is in your feet. Push down into those feet. Staying here as you exhale. And then bringing it back up. I'm going to bend into this front knee, last chair pose, just taking that back foot and stepping it up. Give it an exhale to release back a little bit further, and then stand on up. I'm going to widen our legs here. So you're going to come out wide, toes facing forward to start off with. We're going to take a little transitions, just kind of moving around, kind of getting into the feet a little bit to shift from warrior two side to side. So the inhale will come in the center. You're going to lift the arms up, long spine, toes face forward. We'll move over towards the right side. Turn your toes all the way over, a little bit over, bend into that knee. You can take your time. You can take some slow breath. We'll come back to inhale, high pyramid in the center. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, back to the center. Hold that foot adjustment. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale to the center. And exhale, warrior two. Check in with your alignment every time, making sure that you're turning the knee and the toe out. Everything's lined up there. Inhale. Exhale. One more time each side. Trying to get those fairly precise things lined up. They're a little different every time you do it, but trying to check in, find that same truth every time, same warrior two. We're going to come back to the center here. And this time, come forward into a fold. So your hands might go to your shins or down to the floor. Bend your knees if you need. Allow your neck to release. Bring your hands over towards the right leg. Use the left arm to pull yourself in, so a little bit more of that upper back release. One more exhale. And then switching over towards the other side, holding with your right leg a little bit tighter, so kind of pulling inwards with that right leg. Releasing that, come back to the center. Little bend in your knees, hands to your hips, start to draw yourself up and bring your feet in closer together. I'm gonna do a little rolling around of the feet. Do the other one. We're gonna do a little balancing. If you want to come near something, if that's going to be useful for you to have something that you could just grab, just to be kind and easy on yourself. We're going to stand up on your left leg. We're going to do dancer's pose. So if you need to grab something to hold onto your foot, a sock or a strap or something, you can. If you want to hold onto the foot back here, go for it. We're going to really lift up from the front of this hip. We've done all of the things. We've done some back bending, some heart lifting, some quad stretching, hip opening, and be real expansive here. Lift those inner thighs, try to keep your hips even. And then coming back softly, releasing the foot and moving to the other side. So you're gonna get up on top of the right foot, kick that foot back, lift up, real spacious here, all over the place, spacious. Good. Still breathing with spaciousness. Exhale. And coming up, releasing slowly your foot. Give yourself a little wiggle around. Coming back to the front of your space, we're going to take a couple of half salutes, just moving through the spine a little bit more. On your inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Bend the knees as much as you need. Inhale, halfway up, heart forward, tail back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, all the way up. Feel the fronts of your hips lift up as well. Exhale, hands at your heart. 2 more rounds. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, soften and fold. Inhale, heart lifts, hips reach back. Exhale, fold again. All the way up, inhale. Hands at heart, exhale. Again, inhale, reach it up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, heart lifts. Exhale, folding again. Inhaling all the way up. And exhale, hands at your heart. Got another half of a half to do to get ourselves back down on the ground. Take an inhale, lift up. Exhale, fold it down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, bend the knees, plant the hands. We're gonna step back and find child's pose again. Wiggle those hips back, rest your forehead. Notice if, maybe the reality of this pose is a little bit different than it was before, and maybe it's not. Just being there with what is. If you need to come out of this and lay flat on your belly instead, you can absolutely do that. Exhaling. And walking yourself back up, you're going to swing the legs out. And take your right leg, pull it in, adjust the flesh if you like. I was thinking of drawing the thigh bone into the hip socket because that's going to help the hip start to tilt forward, and then coming into that one-legged fold. Hold on wherever it makes sense in your body, trying to find a relaxed back. Also gets into like watching the stories that we tell ourselves. Like, there is no real reason to put your head on your leg. Like, there's no real reason to get into that space other than like aesthetically or as a goal, like an ego thing. And you can use that stuff for fun, right? Like we don't have to always exist completely without goals and directions and ego, but really what the purpose is to relax your back and your hamstrings, the back side of your body. So can you go to a place that allows that and know that now you've got the purpose of the pose, wherever that happens to take you. And start to walk it back up. You're gonna switch sides, take your right leg out, tuck the left one in, adjust flesh and body parts, and then relax the thigh bone in, not trying to drop the knee down on the floor, but relaxing the thigh bone in as you come forward over your leg. Yourself about another 2 long, deep breaths. And start to walk it back up. You're gonna switch to left leg going on, and then bring the right leg in. This time it's gonna stay foot down. You could cross the leg up and over, lift your left toes, hug the right knee, right arm in nice and close to you, lift up, inhale, exhale, soften into your twist. 2 more breaths, inhale, get tall, exhale, soften. 1 more, breathe in, breathe out, releasing, unwinding, and finding the other side. So foot comes in, it might cross over, hug the thigh, prop the back, lift the spine, soften and twist. 2 more deep breaths. Releasing your twist, unwinding. And we're gonna come into crisscross applesauce or Sukhasana. If you wanna grab something and put it underneath your hips, grab a little pillow or something, it's 60% of the time it works all the time. No, like 9 times out of 10, this is gonna feel better in your hips. Probably honestly 99 times out of 100. If you really don't like it, that's fine. You've got to just discover what your own reality is, and you can put it away. The way that you sat the first time, and you can sit here, we can totally do more of a diamond shape experience if your knees aren't wanting to bend as much today. And then when we do the second version, you can take your legs wide. Maybe that could be a good modification for bodies. But the way that you went the first time is probably the way that's most comfortable for your body. So I want you to start off with the uncomfortable one, that way we can end strong. Okay, and that there's a place we're supposed to end. You just probably feel better. Take your right hand down and then reach your left arm up, and we're releasing the back here, giving space to soften forward. 1 more exhale, maybe bend that elbow a little bit, and then come up. Left hand goes down, right arm goes up, reach up and over. Maybe this elbow starts to bend. Big exhale. Then coming back and coming forward. Drop it down, bend your elbows, soften forward. Two more breaths. And then starting to walk it back. We're going to switch the cross of the legs, so we're going to go back to the one that might be a little bit more open in your body. And maybe both of them are tight.
Take the right hand down, reach the left arm up and over. 2 deep breaths. Inhale, reach. Exhale, relax that hip down. Maybe bend the elbow. Inhale, reach. Stay, exhale. Coming up, hand down, arm up and over. Let's extend. Exhale, soften. Again, extend. Exhale, soften. And coming up and coming forward again. And maybe you just stop here. Maybe you stop here and you're just working on breathing into the space wherever you are. Go as far as is desirable to you, that is interesting, that feels worthwhile to you. One more exhale. And start to draw it back up. Bring your hands back behind you. Roll the shoulders back, lift your heart up, feel it expand. And let it deflate and soften. I'm going to come down onto our backs. If you want to have anything that you'll want for Shavasana and want to make it handy, great. I'll meet you down there. Feet on the floor, arms reaching back behind you. Reach back with more action and tension, feeling your heart, your ribs, your waist lift up. Big inhale. Soften as you exhale. Bring your arms down by your sides. Heels are in line with your hips, nice and close to your hips. Wiggle your shoulders under your back. We'll go up bridge pose, press downwards into the floor. Maybe wiggle the shoulders under again. All those same things that we do. Pressing down into the feet, opening the hips, breathing, relaxing the jaw, and then releasing down. Coming up for a second round. Maybe having cleared some space to come into it. Again, press down, lift up, reach the knees away. Big inhale. Release shoulders, release the spine, the hips down. Wiggle the feet out wider, the knees drop against each other. You're going to start pulling the knees into your chest. Give yourself a hug, rock around a little bit. You cross one ankle over the other, reach around to hold onto your shins or your feet. And switch the cross of your ankles. And release the ankle crossing and open your arms out. We're going to go into a twist for a good long time. So knowing that, make sure that you're setting up for a place where your body's going to be okay for a while. And if you need to adjust, adjust. I'm going to settle in. I'm a little bit wider here, a little bit more open than I might be if I was only going to hold this for a couple of breaths, because we're going to hold it for quite a few breaths. I should be here.
Yeah, that's what I thought. About a minute, which is kind of a long time. Check in with the muscles in your face. If the reality becomes you should not be staying exactly still in this position anymore and you need to move, honoring that. You're just a little bit, frantic in the brain and you can try to soften yourself a little bit more, then maybe that's the focus, just to soften. One more exhale. Then rolling it back over onto the left side, and the other twist. Adjusting what you should adjust, listening and honoring what your body needs. And then settling in. Checking in with points of tension, noticing if you can adjust, relax, soften anywhere. One more exhale. And coming back to the center, set your feet down, knock the knees against each other again. And if as you sit here and you say to yourself, feel really nice if I just did this other extra thing, do the other extra thing. If you want to stay here, stay here. If you're ready to slide out into Shavasana, then that's where we go. Set yourself up in a place where you are able to rest as much as you can. You are just kind to yourself about any moments where rest becomes a little harder or thoughts start to pop in, and just acknowledge and move on. Enjoying this time to rest. start to come back to your body. Tuning in, wiggling your fingers and toes, maybe reaching your arms up and back behind you for a nice good morning stretch. Goodness, Jezebel. Unrolling yourself over to one side, turning inwards for a moment of gratitude for your practice. When you're ready, finding your own version of a comfortable seat. Bringing your hands together at your heart. Sealing practice, releasing an Om together. Big breath in. Bowing down to the love and light that resides within each of our hearts. Namaste. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, April.
Thanks, Susan. Thanks, Melinda. Take care.
We'll see you later.
Bye, Judy. Bye, Ruth. Enjoy the beautiful days. Take care.